No, I cannot solve the twin prime conjecture at this time. Here's why. What is the twin prime conjecture? Twin prime conjecture is a famous unsolved problem in number theory. It states that there are infinitely many pairs of prime numbers that differ by exactly 2, such as 3, 5, 5, 7, 11, 13, and so on. These pairs are called twin primes. A prime number is a natural number greater than 1 that has no positive divisors other than 1 in itself. The conjecture suggests that no matter how large the numbers get, we can always find more twin prime pairs along the number line. Why is it hard to solve? Proving the twin prime conjecture is challenging for several reasons. Primes are unpredictable. While we know there are infinitely many prime numbers thanks to Euclid's ancient proof, their distribution is irregular and becomes sparser as numbers increase. Prime number theorem tells us that the number of primes less than n is approximately n log n, but this doesn't specify where they occur. Yeah, I can't solve it. Conclusion. With my current knowledge and tools available, I cannot provide a solution. Well, fuck you. You tried. Bomb Dropper, we've read this. I'm so confused. I'm just gonna pull up the Flame and Frost and Flame while we wait. ChatGPT doesn't even attempt. Yeah, ChatGPT is probably smarter. Oh, well, I guess we could also do, okay, we've talked about this, but, we've never done it. So let's do an extrapolation of this, and let's do the commentary, guys. How about that? We haven't done the commentary in a while, so let's do commentary. I'm gonna take a toke. Actually, I'm gonna write it out, make it think, and then, extrapolating from the past, the time frame between a super classified new military groundbreaking technology and that technology becoming a normality. Public normality. Using that as a reference, what do you think the current day top-notch, top-of-the-line, brand new, groundbreaking technology using that as a reference, what do you think the time frame is for current day top-notch, top-of-the-line, brand new, groundbreaking technology. Just being developed to become a public normality. Extrapolating from the past, the time frame between a super classified new military groundbreaking technology and that technology becoming a public normality. Using that as reference, what do you think the time frame is for the current day top-notch, top-of-the-line, brand new, groundbreaking technology that is just being developed to become a public normality? What do you think the current developed how long do you think the current day top-notch, using that as reference, how long do you think the current day top-notch, top-of-the-line, brand new, groundbreaking technology that is just being developed is from becoming or developed will take to become? How long do you think it will take for the current top-notch being developed to become a public normality? Okay, that's way better phrasing. That's how you do editing just on the go, guys. Extrapolating from the past, the time frame between a superior classified new military groundbreaking technology and that technology becoming a public normality. And using that as a reference, how long do you think it will take for the current day top-notch, top-of-the-line, brand new, groundbreaking technology that is just being developed to become a public normality? Yo, I don't know if I should keep... Where's the fucking alcohol or barely touched? A drop. It should probably be barely touched a drop in the very top one. Level 99, the 12th stage, should be where's the fucking alcohol. Like, I hit the top, I'm allowed now. You know what I mean? And this one I say is between 50 to 70 years. Right? It's somewhere between 50 to 70 years. That's the idea. That's what I believe. So let's see what AI thinks. Only 20 to 30. To estimate how long it might take for current top-notch, groundbreaking military technologies just beginning developed today to become a public normality, we can extrapolate from historical patterns of past military innovation trends issuing civilian use. Let's explore this step by step. Excuse me. Historical patterns. Historically, groundbreaking military technology have taken 20 to 30 years to move from classified development to widespread public availability. Here are some key examples. The internet. Originating as a military project, ARPANET. Oh shit!
Right? Fuck freeze frames. there it goes. That's
True. Hey, Sinister. How's it going, bro? Welcome, welcome. How are you, good sir? The internet originally originated as a military project. ARPANET. In the 1960s. It became widely accessible to the public in the 1990s with the rise of the World Wide Web. This transition took approximately 30 years. Global positioning systems. GPS. Can't sleep. How you all doing? Oh, not too bad. We just finished the React. So, you know, it's a normal day. 3.5 hours in, and we just finished the React video. Fuck yeah. Now we're on to discussing the period of time between top-notch military classified technology and it becoming civilian use. Developed by the military in the 1970s, was open for civilian use in the 1990s after selective availability was turned off. This was roughly 20 to 25 year timeline. Drones, military drones saw significant use in the 1990s during the Gulf War, and by the 2010s they became popular for civilian applications like photography and delivery. This shift took about 20 years. These examples suggest a consistent pattern. Military technologies that are initially super classified often take 2 or 3 decades to be declassified and interrogated into everyday life. A top role for the leader. Infatuated, Callie. Do like intoxication, but with infatuated. Factors influencing the time frame. With the 20 to 30 year range as a solid baseline, several factors could adjust this timeline for today's technologies. Accelerated technological advancement. Modern innovation moves faster than it did in the 20th century. Technologies like artificial intelligence and quantum computing are already advancing rapidly, with civilian applications emerging alongside military ones. This could shorten the transition time. Military secrecy. Highly sensitive technologies may remain classified longer due to national security concerns, potentially extending the timeline. Commercialization potential. Technologies can be easily adapted for commercial use. The internet tend to become public faster than those that are specialized or dangerous. Nuclear weapons, which never fully transition, into nuclear power. Complexity. Cutting-edge fields like quantum computing are still in early development, which might delay their public rollout compared to more mature technologies. My god, the roll boosters should totally be the type of drunk you are for doing certain things, I think. Yes! Yes, Callie! 100%. Do it. I love it. Consider some of today's top-notch military technologies such as military-grade AI and quantum computing, which are likely among the groundbreaking innovations being developed now. Artificial intelligence is already in civilian use in smartphones and self-driving cars, but military-grade AI optimized for strategic decision-making or autonomous weapons might be more advanced and closely guarded. Given the overlap with the civilian AI, this could become public as little as 10 to 20 years, depending on the classification. Quantum computing. Still in its infancy, quantum computing promises revolutionary applications in cryptography and simulation. Since it's less mature and highly sensitive, breaking encryption, it might follow a longer timeline, closer to 20-30 years before becoming public. Based on historical trends and modern dynamics, the time frame for today's super-classified, groundbreaking military technologies to become public normality likely ranges from 10 to 30 years. Technologies with rapid civilian parallels, like AI, may lean toward the shorter end, while the complex or sensitive ones, like quantum computing, may take closer to the full 30 years. On average, 20 years seems reasonable estimate for most cases, balancing the accelerating pace of innovation with delays of secrecy and complexity. I found a cool feature. It is a role where it rewards people for speaking in a specific channel. It gives more XP if you want people to chat more somewhere. The general chat. So people actually go in there and talk and like there should be the chat. Actually, Callie, can you make a channel called brainstorming or something like that? And it's like for people to just go in and throw their ideas in and be like, what do you think of this idea? And then people can interact with their idea. What do you guys think about that? And then have that as like the main one that we want to push people towards. So people aren't just coming in and saying, hi, how's it going? They're actually interacting, right? So brand new technology developed in 2023, we might have to expect to become a public normality sometime between 2033 and 2053, with 2043 as a plausible midpoint. What is the longest period of time between a technology being developed and it being a public normality? I wonder if there's a technology that's over like 70 or 80 years. Yeah, I was thinking like something between the 1700s, 1800s, and like 1850s. Something probably to do with like construction and manufacturing and like the Industrial Revolution. That would be my guess. Now it's going really far back. But I think it's somewhere between like 60 to 80 years. But Sinister, if you're still here, do you want me to read one of your stories? Because we're kind of just chilling right now. So I would be down to read one of your stories. To determine the longest period of time between a technology being developed and it becoming a public normality, we need to identify a technology that was functional and had its potential recognized at an early point, but took an exceptionally long time to become widely accepted and integrated into everyday life by general public. Oh, nuclear technology! After considering various technologies, one standing out is the simple fax machine. Concept of transmitting images over a distance was first developed in 1843, when Alexander Bain patented a device capable of sending a rudimentary form of facsimile. This marked the initial development of the technology, as it demonstrated a functional method for image transmission, even if it was not yet practical for widespread use. However, fax machines did not become a common tool in offices and businesses, thus achieving public normality until the 1970s and 1980s. Do you guys want to know something? Do you want to know the reason why we still have fax machines? And this is a very, very scary thought. So think about this. Why do fax machines still exist? With all the technology that we have. And where are like the three main places you see fax machines? I'll let you guys stew on that and I'll answer at the end of this. If you guys don't have an answer. Did not become a common tool in offices and businesses, thus achieving public normality. We read that standardized systems made them affordable and accessible. This transition reflects the point at which fax machines became integrated into daily operations for a significant portion of the population, particularly in professional settings. Calculating the time span, development 1843, public normality approximately in 1980, midpoint in 70s and 80s. Time difference, 137 years, or roughly 140 years. This 140-year period is notably long compared to other technologies. For instance, airplanes invented in 1903 by the Wright brothers. Commercial air travel became common by 1950s, about 50 years. Automobile practical cars emerged in 1880 and widespread ownership in the 1920s, about 40 years. Internet developed 1960s, 1999, about 30 years. While older technologies like the printing press, 1440 to the 18th century, 300 years. Or sewage systems, ancient times, 19th century, over 1,000 years, have longer spans. Their adoption involved significant evolution and societal shifts, making the starting point of development less clear-cut. The fax machine, by contrast, is a distinct initial invention that remained relevant, albeit unrefined, until its eventual widespread use. Thus, the fax machine represents the longest clear period between development and public normality, among well-documented examples, taking approximately 140 years. The answer is 140 years. And the answer to my question is, it's not exact, but it basically can't be hacked. It can be, but it basically can't be, right? And it's used in hospitals, banks, and businesses. Because it's secure. And it's used for, like, very important, very, like, you know, you don't want these documents in public hands, such as financial statements. That's why you fax things, you don't email things between, like, your doctor's office and your pharmacy, for instance, right? So that was like, this is the plot outline for medical mystery psychological horror. Left-handed chiral DNA structure. They're clones created by the government where they have stolen the main body. Where all chirals are left-handed, not right-handed. This is due to government bureaucracy. They went with a simple and easy way to identify clones via left-handed chiral DNA. They were warned. In a world with no left-handed people, these clones are all left-handed. That's a chilling and intriguing premise for a medical mystery psychological horror. The concept of left-handed chiral DNA as a marker for government-created clones is unique and sets up a creepy atmosphere, especially in a world where no one is naturally left-handed. Here's some feedback and ideas to help flesh out your story, focusing on plot, themes, and potential horror elements. Feedback on the plot. Strong hook. The idea of chiral DNA, the real scientific concept where molecules can exist in mirror image forms, being manipulated to mark clones is brilliant. It's grounded enough in science to feel plausible, but twisted enough to be unsettling. The government's bureaucratic laziness, they went with the simple way, adds a darkly ironic layer hinting at systematic flaws that could unravel in horrifying ways. World-building opportunity. A world with no left-handed people is a bold choice. It raises questions. Was left-handedness eradicated naturally, genetically, or through social control? This could tie into the horror. Perhaps the government has a history of tampering with human biology, and the clones are just the latest experiment gone wrong. Clone identification. The left-handedness in chiral DNA as a marker for clones is a great visual and scientific cue. It makes the clones instantly identifiable, which could lead to social stigma, paranoia, or even violence against them. The fact they were warned suggests a looming consequence. Maybe the chiral DNA causes instability, madness, or a biological flaw that fuels the horror. Now, the idea here is, if I was, like, normally talking to someone, right, we'd just kind of be throwing ideas back and forth, and it's like, oh, well, this is what I think, and then you get a completely different perspective, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing here, is I'm just, like, giving a basic premise to the AI, and based on what we've done before, it kind of has an idea of how I like to structure things, so it creates these structures for me, and then challenges me with, like, certain questions and developments that I'm like, does that work with the story that I'm writing? And it's, like, a good way to shift your perspective and have almost someone, if you don't have anyone else to, like, give you feedback on anything, right? That's kind of what this exercise is all about, is getting a different perspective. Themes to explore. Identity. Are the clones aware they're clones? Do they grapple with their artificial origin or feel like their main body or original template was stolen? Versus control versus chaos. The government's bureaucratic shortcut could symbolize a larger theme of overreaching control leading to a catastrophic failure. Otherness. Left-handed clones in a right-handed world could face alienation, fear, or persecution, amplifying the psychological horror. Suggestions to develop the plot. Inciting incident. What kicks off the story? Here are a few ideas. Clone begins experiencing visions or memories that belong to the main body, suggesting the original person's consciousness is somehow still alive or influencing them. A medical researcher discovers that the left-handed chiral DNA is mutating, causing clones to develop unnatural abilities or horrifying physical, mental changes. A clone escapes a government facility, exposing the program to the public and sparking a witch hunt for other left-handed people. A non-clone protagonist, a doctor or journalist, notices a patient with impossible left-handed DNA, uncovering the conspiracy. Protagonist. Who drives the story? Consider. A clone who's unaware of their origins, but starts noticing they're different left-handed in a right-handed world, strange dreams, or a sense of being watched. Scientist or doctor who stumbles on the chiral DNA anomaly while treating a patient, then becomes obsessed with uncovering the truth, even as the government threatens them. Dual perspective. One clone grappling with their identity and one non-clone investigating the conspiracy, their paths converging. This is actually how we kind of start the story, which I thought was fucking hilarious how it picked out, and it basically kind of identified how we're going to do it, because there's going to be Linda, the main character, who's not a clone, but she's a spy for the government, and then there's Hector, who is her lab partner, who is a clone. And there's going to be Linda's perspective of Linda and the clone Hector, and then there's Hector's perspective of Hector in the insane asylum being told he's fucking crazy. Horror elements. To lean into psychological horror, amplify the unease. Body horror, we don't care really about that. That's going to come up later. Psychological paranoia, we don't care about that. The government cover-up. Government might hunt clones to hide their mistake using psychological tactics like gaslighting or surveillance to make them doubt their sanity. Or they could deploy perfect right-handed clones to replace the flawed left-handed ones, creating a doppelganger horror. Supernatural twist. Chiral DNA could have unintended consequences like opening a connection to a mirror dimension or awakening something like aliens or clones in biology. We originally started with something supernatural that was interdimensional, and that's where the left-handed chiral people came from. And then I was like, no, it has to be fucking clones, because in this, like, world that all of these short stories are set in, the government is like a dark, dystopian, fucked up, like, Illuminati type shit. And this is like an extension of like MK Ultra and shit like that. Conflict and stakes. Internal conflict. The protagonist is a clone. They might struggle with whatever they're truly human. We don't care about that. External conflict. The government could be a faceless, oppressive force, sending agents to silence anyone who knows the truth. That kind of happens. Alternatively, a rogue scientist or whistleblower within the government could be a complex antagonist, believing the clones are dangerous. Well, he's an antagonist in the way of thinking if the government is the protagonist. Societal stakes. If the truth about the clones leaks, it could spark mass hysteria with people turning on anyone suspecting of being left-handed, or the clones might rebel, demanding rights or seek revenge, which is actually like one of the main reasons. If like hiding the truth so people don't know what the government's doing, right? Climax and resolution. Where is the story headed? Some possibilities. The protagonist discovers the main body. The chiral DNA mutates. Chiral clone unite and overthrow the government. A psychological twist. Protagonist realizes they are the clone. World building question to consider. Why no left-handed people? This is actually a genetic purge. What's the main body? We don't need to worry about that. How are clones treated? They can't get nutritions or anything, so they basically just die off. What went wrong? They were warned, line is tantalizing, warning about scientific risks, ethical concerns, something more sinister, conspiracy theory claiming clones would break reality, medical and scientific grounding. To keep medical mystery vibe, you can lean into real science doing, while adding in horror twist. Chirality and biology. Most DNA in nature is right-handed ddNA. Left-handed DNA, zDNA, exists but is rare and unstable. You could play with the idea that the government engineered zDNA for clones, but it's prone to mutations or interact strangely with the right-handed biology, which is what it does. Handedness. Left-handedness is partially genetic, partially environmental. You could explain the absence of left-handed people as a government-mandated gene edit decades ago. That's like a absolutely perfect idea to like reference how genetic manipulation has been like slowly pressed through, and this is like something that Linda has intimate knowledge about. So this could be like going inside of her head and talking about this. This was a really good idea that direction that we never really thought about going with before. Making the clones left-handedness is deliberate throwback. Cloning tech. Maybe the clones aren't traditional clones, but chiral duplicates created by mirroring the DNA of the body. This could explain why they're fundamentally unstable or wrong. We already know why they are, so we don't need to worry about that. Psychological horror tips. Uncanny Valley. Make the clones almost human, but off in a subtle way. Gaslighting. The government can manipulate clones into doubting their own existence. We kind of use this, but in a different way. Isolation. Motive of forbidden, like forming communities. No, they just all die off. Next sets. Outline a key scene. Talks. Could I display the owner rule separately from everyone? I wish to be on top. Co-owner. True. I'm the creator, and we're co-owners. But you're the mastermind behind it, so you might as well be the creator. I'm just leeching. Great suggestions, but I have a direction. Here's the character profile of one of the characters. I got in the profile. Linda Yui is a fascinating and layered character, perfectly suited for the dark conspiratorial tone of your medical mystery psychological horror story. Because you guys haven't heard anything about Linda's actual personality, right? Her profile is rich with contradictions and depth, which make her feel authentic and ripe for conflict in a world of clones and government cover-ups. Below, I'll break down what works, offer some thoughts on how she fits into your plot, and suggest ways to deepen her role or address potential gaps. Since you've got a direction, I'll focus on refining Linda's profile and tying her to the chiral DNA clone premise, while keeping my response concise yet thorough. What works in Linda's profile? Complex motivation, reputation, and betrayal. Theme of betrayal. Linda's theme of betrayal aligns beautifully with the story's government conspiracy. Her belief that reputation dictates your worth, but can only be ruined if you're caught, sets her up for moral ambiguity. She could be a wild card, someone who might betray the protagonist, the clones, or even the government for her own gain, but only if she can avoid exposure. Unspoken rule. Going back on your word will destroy your reputation. Suggests she's hyper-aware of trust and perception, which could make her paranoid or manipulative in a world where clones are marked by their left-handedness. This rule could clash with her contradictory belief, creating tension when she's tempted to break her word but stay hidden. Backstory. Her journey from high school dropout and drug user to a genius recruited by the government is compelling. It grounds her in a gritty, relatable past while explaining her expertise in biology and chemistry, key for unraveling the chiral DNA mystery. The contradiction, not thinking she was smart yet excelling in drug making, adds depth. Her pivot from criminality to government asset feels plausible, especially in a bureaucratic system that might exploit her skills despite her past. Being arrested and recruited hints at coercion, which could fuel her resentment or loyalty to government, depending on how you play it. Personality and mannerisms. Response action, fawn, deflection. Her tendency to avoid confrontation makes her a survivor, fitting the psychological horror vibe. She might deflect suspicion about the clones or her own role with charm or humor, which could mask darker intentions. Temperament. Short, snap outbursts, 2 to 3 words, are a great touch. They show her control slipping under pressure, hinting at suppressed anger or trauma from her past. This could escalate in high-stakes moments, like when she's confronted about the clones. Mannerisms. Tapping heels, rubbing eyebrows, and ignoring her glasses are vivid and specific. They paint her as a fidgety, self-conscious, which contrasts nicely with her confident speech. The glasses detail, never pushing them up, only resetting them, is quirky and memorable, suggesting a refusal to conform to small norms. Speech pattern. Her mix of simple language and complex scientific terms is perfect for a self-taught genius. Words like preposterous and fallacy give her a sharp edge, will envelop and stabilize, tie her to scientific mind. This makes her dialogue distinct and believable. Appearance and defined feature. Physical appearance, 5'7", 175 pounds, chin length, brunette hair, hazel eyes, is grounded and relatable, avoiding cliches of the perfect scientist. The scar on her left hand's index finger, is a fantastic detail, especially in a story about left-handed clones. Could be a red herring, people suspect she's a clone, or a symbolic link to her past, an injury from her drug-making days. Her weight and height suggest a solid practical presence, which contrasts with her fidgety mannerisms, adding to her complexity. Unique draw, dark humor. Her ability to joke about her troubled past is a great way to make her likable yet unsettling. It shows resilience, but also hints at unresolved pain, which fits the psychological horror tone. Her self-deprecating humor could disarm others, making her betrayal, if she goes that route, even more shocking. How Linda fits the plot. Linda's expertise in biology and chemistry makes her a natural fit for investigating or even creating the chiral DNA clones. Here's how she could tie into your premises. Role in the conspiracy. Given her recruitment after arrest, she might work for the government, designing and analyzing chiral DNA program. Her belief that reputation can only be ruined if you're caught suggests she might hide flaws in the program to protect herself, even if it means endangering lives. I thought this was good, because she could be the reason and the suggestion for having left-handed chirals, and she'd be like, well, you know, it's really complicated, or we could just make it really easy, and this is the easy way to do it. Oh, maybe we should just do it the easy way. So there was a thought there with that, so I thought that was good, to give me more perspective, right? How can I deepen the connection between Linda and the clones and the whole program itself? How is she embedded in the system? Like, what does she know? Connection to clones, yeah, that's just kind of dumb. The horror element, I thought that was also dumb. It suggests to deepen Linda's profile. Clarify her role in the story. Linda is the protagonist. Yeah, she's basically like an ally, but also an antagonist. Deepen her backstories. Let's see. Drug making inspiration. How did she go from making drugs to mastering biology and chemistry? Maybe she taught herself by experimenting with biochemical compounds, which caught the government's eye. You get at a specific moment, like creating a drug that mimicked chiral properties. And then I was thinking maybe she was like, you know, her last name is Yui. Maybe she's from China. Maybe she was like a Chinese revolutionary who got caught up in the drug trade because she wasn't like phenomenal in school, so the pressures of school pressed her out of school, so she wound up as a drug crafter and, like, you know, chemist, and then she joined like some sort of revolutionary thing and wound up being refugeed somehow in the United States, and continued with the drugs, got arrested. Her background and everything got her like eyes by like the CIA and the FBI basically, and then they realized how good she was with chemistry and biology, and they recruited her into the program. Boom, backstory. You know, so we figured out the government recruitment tied to the scar in the plot. We never really quite figure that out, but I think it's just one of those things where it's like it's a reminder of her past. You know, she was foolish one time and fucked up her finger. It's the way that it is. Amplify the horror. Psychological instability. Her outbursts and fidgety mannerisms could escalate under stress, suggesting she's unraveling. Maybe she hears the main body. Yeah, it has this weird thing with like the main body. I don't know. But that's just how it goes sometimes. The interpretations can be really off. Betrayal's cost. If she betrays someone, the fallout could be horrific. The clones she exposes mutate, refine her speech. Use of simple language, scientific terms is great, but you could add a quirk to reflect her dark humor. For example, she might use metaphors tied to her past. This plan's gonna crash like a bad batch. Her common words, preposterous, fallacy, suggest a defensive edge, as if she's always ready to argue her intelligence. Which is like a really, really good insight on that. Potential gaps or questions. Motivation clarity. Her contradictory beliefs, reputation is everything, but only if you're caught, are great, but how does she reconcile them? Does she lean towards self-preservation, hiding her actions, or ambition, building a flawless reputation, a specific goal, providing her genius, escaping the government, or saving the clones? We kind of already went over this. Connections, outbursts, triggers, definitely can get better. Like, her outbursts get longer and longer. She stops being able to control herself throughout it. How to use Linda in key scenes. Discovery scene. Linda could be the one who notices exactly. That's what she does. She finds the instability. Betrayal moment. She betrays the protagonist. It could be subtle. Yeah. The coffee. The coffee is the important one. That's what the betrayal moment is for. Linda Yui is a standout character with a mix of grit, intelligence, and moral ambiguity that fits your medical mystery, psychological horror perfectly. Her scar, dark humor, and contradictory beliefs make her memorable, while her scientific expertise ties her directly to the chiral DNA plot. To take her to the next level, clarify her role, protagonist, ally, antagonist, and all that, and brainstorm, and then it's like, okay, I was like, okay, let's insert here where Linda fits into the story. She's a government spy who is working on genetic engineering. Her lab partner, Hector Bridge, is replaced with a clone. It is a government test to see if she is ready to move up to the next level of authority. She discovers he is a clone, and he doesn't realize. She lures him into the lab, locks him in, activating emergency contamination system. It's fascinating development for Linda Yui's role, your medical mystery, psychological horror story, positioning her as a government spy working on genetic engineering, with her lab partner Hector Bridge replaced by a clone as a test of her loyalty and competence adds a delicious layer of paranoia and deception. Her discovery and subsequent entrapment of the clone using the emergency containment system is chilling moment. It thinks we're going to kill the thing, but we're not. She's trapped in there with him. So there's a little bit of a fuck up here. So, we can skip all of this. Integrating Linda's character profile. Here's how Linda's traits shape her role and actions. Theme of betrayal. Linda's decision to lure and trap Hector's clone is a clear betrayal. Okay, yeah, actually, we replace, like, most of this once we've established Hector, and then we do the full screening. So, suggestions that strengthen Linda's role. Motivation for betrayal. Clarify why Linda is so driven to pass the test. Is it ambition to escape her past and secure her reputation? Extradition. Deportation. That could tie in again to how she got in the position that she's in. She wants to outsmart her manipulators, anchor her betrayal of Hector's clone. She might see the promotion as a way to access the main body, hoping to destroy it and end the program, either to redeem herself or sabotage the government. So there's a backstabbing element there that could be placed. We could go with that, the moral conflict. For trapping the clone, Linda could have a brief outburst. That's kind of dumb. That's kind of dumb. That's a cool idea, but this is what I have so far for the first 3 scenes. Let me know what you think. So we got your first 3 scenes are a solid foundation for your medical mystery psychological horror story. Effectively setting up the chiral DNA mystery, Linda's suspicions, and the chilling moment of betrayal. They establish the scientific intrigue, build tension around Hector's clone status, and showcase Linda's cunning and conflicted nature. Below, I'll analyze what works, suggest refinements, and tie the scenes to your plot and Linda's character profile, and offer ideas to amplify the horror and suspense while respecting your direction and drawing on your interest in morally complex science narratives, like the ethical dilemmas from your April 3rd, 2025 conversation. I'll keep it concise, focused, and actionable, aligning with your established plot points and Linda's role as a government spy. Analysis of the scenes. Scene 1, DNA analysis at the CDC. What works? Premise setup. Sending DNA to the CDC under national security protocols immediately establishes the high stakes. Government-controlled setting. It grounds the chiral DNA plot in a realistic framework, hinting at the bureaucracy behind the clone program. Goal. Using an AI program to match proteins to amino acids is a great way to introduce the scientific mystery. It's specific enough to feel authentic, but accessible to non-scientists. Conflict. AI failing to find 100% matches creates instant intrigue, suggesting something fundamentally wrong with the DNA. Perfect for hinting at the left-handed chiral structure. Disaster. The 40 to 50% match of is a compelling hook. It's low enough to be alarming, raising questions about what kind of DNA could be so different from human norms. Suggestions. Clarify Linda's role. Is Linda overseeing the AI program, or is she one of several scientists? As a government spy, she might be tasked with ensuring the results stay secret, adding tension if she suspects the low match is tied to the clone program she's working on. Thinks she's working on it. She's not working on the clone program. She's just really good with biology, so she's the perfect person for them to use to try and fake actual research on a cure of a disease that doesn't exist. But she doesn't know that yet. Horror tense. To lean into psychological horror in AI could flag an anomaly in DNA that's incompatible with human biology. It likes to play on the horror, but this isn't the horror aspect. The psychological horror is the second part where the POV changes. This is the medical mystery part. Tied to the government. The national security angle could be emphasized. Perhaps Linda receives a cryptic message, which we do have at the very beginning. National security, need to know, eyes only, right? Because we're still keeping that intro. Scene 2, breakfast room breakdown. What works? Reaction. Linda puzzling over a low match while microwaving a frozen dinner is a great character moment. It shows her obsessive mind and grounds her in a mundane setting, contrasted with the high-tech lab. Dilemma. Her hesitation to involve Hector reflects her betrayal theme and spy instincts. Noticing his left-handedness, handing her coffee, is a subtle clue that ties directly to the chiral DNA plot and sets up her suspicion. Decision. Asking Hector to help in the lab is a smart move. It shows her testing him without revealing her spy role, aligning with her fond deflection response, and her belief that reputation can only be ruined if you're caught. Suggestions. Amplify suspense. When Hector hands her the coffee with his left hand, you can notice something off. This is kind of weird. Mannerisms, you can use her quirks more. This is a good one for like the tension, dark humor when she says something. The lab discussion, they go to the lab. Investigating the low match keeps the scientific mystery at the forefront, with Linda and Hector's discussion grounding chiral DNA reveal. Conflict. Hector's persistent left-handedness builds suspense, making Linda's suspicion more concrete. It's a great way to show her observational skills as a spy and scientist. Disaster. Calling Hector out on is a bold move, escalating the tension and forcing a confrontation that aligns with her betrayal theme. Reaction. Hector's defensiveness and denial add psychological depth, suggesting the clone might not know its true nature, which is heartbreaking and creepy. Dilemma. Linda's choice to consider experimenting on Hector is chilling, showing her ruthless side. This is actually because he's sick, so she's doing experiments on his blood to try and find out what stage he's at, and that's when she finds out, yeah, there's like no scarring, there's no nothing, this is fucked up. There's something else going on here. Because she knows her shit when it comes to biology. Decision. Pulling the contamination lever is a dramatic climax, perfectly showcasing Linda's cunning and her ability to use the lab systems to avoid direct confrontation. It thinks that she leaves. Mirror trick. The phone reflecting 100% match with the mirror protein is brilliant. It's visual, scientific, and ties directly to left-handed chiral. Hector's behavior, his left-handed actions could feel increasingly unnatural. Horror in the lockdown, don't really need that. Well, we could lean into it a little bit with, like, the suspense factor, right? Tying scenes to Linda's profile and the plot. Betrayal theme. Linda's decision to trap Hector's clone is a clear act of betrayal. It's actually not. It's, that's kind of... It's taking this in the wrong way. True, Lord Timmy. True. Backstory. Her drug-making past and recruitment make her adept at spotting anomalies like the low DNA match and Hector's lactandinous. Her arrest gives government leverage, explaining why she's so eager to pass their test. Mannerism and speech. Her heel tapping and elbows rubbing could signal her growing suspicion. While her dark humor matches as stable as my old life, keeps ease. The DNA plot. The right-handed, D and Z's, don't really know about that. Amplifying horror suspense, don't really need to know about that. Potential adjustments, clarity, specifically who's running the AI program and why is the DNA, why was it sent to the CDC? Is it a routine check for a clone program? It's for a disease. An outbreak of a disease that they're trying to find a cure for, and Linda's the one who's working on it. So that's kind of explained in the intro before, like, the goal of scene 1. Broader plot implications after the lockdown, chiral flow, Linda's arc. Okay, we don't really need to know about that. Your 3 scenes set up a gripping mystery with strong scientific hook and a chilling betrayal. Linda's role as a spy, her discovery in the chiral DNA flaw, and her entrapment of Hector's clone create a tense arc that blends medical mystery with psychological horror. It shouldn't have that much psychological horror in this moment. The mirror reveal is a standout moment. I loved that. Like, that moment is the perfect part. I'm going, fuck you, love you, fuck you, Muffin, have a good night, thanks for the raid, man, take care, bro, love you too, bro, fuck you, peace. You're gonna pop off again tomorrow, I think, or is it Sunday, which is Monday, I don't know, it's Sunday, right? Yeah, you can pop off tomorrow, right? Where were we? Strengthen the scenes, add subtle horror cues, glitches. Monday is a public holiday, dude. Yeah, it's same here. It's a long weekend. Honestly, I don't know what the holiday is. I'm fucking retarded. I miss Cute Muffin already. Nice, Lord Timmy. Hell yeah. Muffin's the best, man. He gets shit done. He knows what's going on. He's intelligent. He's thoughtful. You know? He's provocative. He's funny. Okay, so then I said, let's go back to world building, kind of explain the backstory and the kidnapping. So basically, in this world, the government is kidnapping and experimenting on people for almost 100 years. It's around the year 2040, and the government has enough understanding about genetics to make perfect clones. But in order, bye cutie, aw, so cute. All of those, yes. Intelligent, no. I mean, you can think what you want, Muffin, but when we get that IQ and you never go under 350, I'm gonna be like, I told you, man, he's fucking 5-head. 5-head big brain sits on his own brain. He's so smart. Uses it as a cushion. I just think about you. I lower the room's IQ by like 30 points. Not 30%. 30 fucking points. I make people retarded. Alright, have a good night, Muffin. Genetics to make perfect clones. But in order to make sure that they can keep track of the clones, they made them left-handed chiral so that proteins and amino acids in nature are not compatible. Thus, after 2 to 3 weeks, they will die. The process by which the government chooses the batch of people it will be experimenting on is twofold. Step 1. Find the best fit genetic makeup and find 12 people to match closest. Then step 2. Assign those for jury duty and in the process replace them with complete perfect clones aside from being left-handed chiral. Left-handed real life as a side effect. This has only recently been happening the last 2 months. The dying clones over the first 1 to 2 weeks that the real person is kidnapped, the public believes it's a disease. This leads back to Linda. She's under government order to study the blood sample so they have a plausible evidence they were doing research into a disease to prevent an audit from exposing them. This is a dark and compelling world-building framework that ties beautifully into your medical mystery, psychological horror story. The government's century-long history of kidnapping and experimentation combined with their recent use of left-handed chiral DNA clones as disposal replacements, creates a chilling backdrop of systematic cruelty and deception. The jury duty scheme is a brilliant bureaucratic cover, and the public's belief in a disease killing the clones adds a layer of social paranoia that amplifies the horror. Linda's role as a government spy studying blood samples to maintain the cover story aligns perfectly with her betrayal theme and morally complex character. Below, I'll analyze your world building, integrate it with Linda's character and the existing scenes, and suggest ways to deepen the horror and narrative while drawing on your interest in morally fraught science, like the ethical dilemmas from your April 3rd conversation. I'll keep it concise, focused, and actionable, respecting your direction. Analysis of the world building. What works? Government conspiracy. Century of secret human experimentation establishes a deep-rooted Orwellian horror. By 2040, their mastery of cloning feels plausible, given the timeline. And the left-handed chiral DNA tracking mechanism and fatal flaw is a unique scientific hook that grounds the mystery. Chiral DNA flaw, making clones, proteins, and amino acids incompatible with nature and leading to their death in 2 to 3 weeks, is a horrifying twist. It explains the low 40 to 50% DNA match in Scene 1 and sets up the mirror reveal in Scene 3, as left-handed Z DNA molecules wouldn't align with right-handed DNA norms. It also makes the clones disposable tools, amplifying the government's callousness. Jury duty scheme. Using jury duty to kidnap people and replace them with clones is a genius bureaucratic ploy. It's mundane enough to avoid suspicion, but sinister in its exploitation of civic duty. Selecting 12 people based on genetic makeup adds a creepy precision to the process. Public deception. The disease cover story is a great touch. The disease cover story is a great touch, creating social tensions and paranoia. It explains why no one questions the clone's deaths and gives Linda's blood sample analysis a clear purpose, maintaining a lie to avoid an audit. Recent timeline. The cloning program being only 2 months old makes the stakes urgent. The government is still refining the process, and Linda's discovery of Hector's clone status suggests cracks in their plan, setting up conflict and potential exposure. Ties to Linda's role. Linda's government orders to study blood samples align with her spy role and scientific expertise. Her betrayal theme shines as she's complicit in covering... ASR999, thank you for the follow! How are you? Welcome, welcome! We are taking a deep dive into how to form a character around your story instead of building your character from the ground up. Fucking ads. Of course, ads pop up now. But that's okay. Ads don't affect Kick. Only affect Twitch. So I can still talk to you. Are you a reader? Are you a writer? Are you a purveyor of ideas? Do you enjoy creativity? Are you a person of imagination? Do you enjoy morally twisted, fucked up, and all around taboo, questionable stories with very, very tough, real world, like, parables and consequences and reflections of real life and satire, irony, and horror, disgust, terribleness, and showing the darkest of humanity. It's a good time we have up in here. Plus, we get some highs. We get some highs up in here, boys, with the bing bong bang. Bang the bing bong bin, and we are going down, up, and over across. That's what it's all about, good sirs. Alright, welcome back, everyone. Alright. Ties to Linda's role. Expose the truth, protect herself to expose the truth. She's caught. Her past as a drug user and coerced recruitment from her arrest. Yeah, jury duty scheme connects to her entrapment. Integrating world building with existing scenes. Here's how your world building enhances the first 3 scenes and Linda's arc. Scene 1, CDC analysis. World building tie. The DNA sample Linda analyzes is likely from a dead clone sent to the CDC to fabricate evidence of a disease. The 40-50% match reflects the left-handed chiral DNA, which doesn't align with natural human DNA. The national security angle explains why the government controls the analysis, with Linda tasked to manipulate or suppress the results to avoid an audit. Linda's role. As a spy, she's ensuring the low match is framed as a disease, not a cloning flaw. Her unease, tapping her heel, rubbing scar, could stem from knowing the truth, but fearing exposure, aligning with her reputation obsession. Enhancement. Add a hint of the jury duty scheme. Example, DNA sample is labeled with this was a good one, with like a juror's name, and notices the 12 similar samples, raising her suspicions about the government's process. That's a good like kind of just small kind of piece to put in there, right? World building tie for the break room. Linda's dilemma about involving Hector reflects her spy instincts. She knows clones are replacing people via jury duty, and Hector's left-handedness handling her coffee triggers her suspicion that he's one of them. The disease cover story might weigh on her mind as she covers. So this is actually wrong. She doesn't have any idea about the cloning. She just knows they're doing genetic experiments. She doesn't actually know about the cloning. She just knows that the disease causes people to be left-handed. That's what she thinks. So she does a bunch of experiments. So I think we've revised this again once we come back to Hector. So move down quite a bit. This is just talking about random stuff. Let's find the lockdown scene. Yeah, only seals the room. Yeah, so they're actually just like, I guess we can just go through it. We'll be switching points of view, but here, let's get an idea of what will happen when we come back so we can keep this as linear and on point as possible. Linda will be doing blood tests and testing Hector's DNA to compare it to the sample she has. It will be a match. She explains he's got the disease and makes him as comfortable as possible as they both try to work on coming up with a cure. All the while, both of them are starving in this lab. Linda has decided she will die in here with the clone or come up with... Smokey! You just missed us take a toke. This is going to be the second time this stream we're going to have a fucking back-to-back toke. Bro, I'm getting brutalized by the chat and my ads. I love it. How's it going, good sir? How are you? We are going through, basically, a way to form your character around your story instead of building your character from the ground up. So your character doesn't feel like it was inserted into the story. It feels like the story was meant for that character. And it's like, you know, it's that coincidental drive that's in the realm of suspended disbelief, right? Insert me? No, insert you to me, Smokey. Let's see who wins. 712%. I'm definitely gayer than you on bottom. 100%, Smokey. You can't argue with that. You're gonna be like 12%. 196%. See? See? You're definitely a top, not a bottom. I know these things, man. I know these things. Okay. Linda will be doing blood tests using Hector's DNA to compare it with samples she has. It'll be a match. She explains that he's got the disease and makes him comfortable as possible as they both try to work on coming up with a cure, all the while they're both of them starving in this lab. Linda's decided she will die in here with the clone or come up with a cure. She has the specimen with her there. There should be no problem curing the disease. She does not know about the clones. She thinks it's a disease, but she is beginning to think it's a lie. As she examines Hector more, there are no signs of moving from right to left-handed. just like he was born left-handed. Like, there's no scarring in the tissue where it would have, like, refolded. More and more, there's no sign of moving from right to left-handed, just like he was born left-handed. So it makes no sense. There should be some kind of scarring on the DNA where refolded. She's not 100%, but she knows there's more to the story. 13! What's up, Smokey? Is making me a toki. And it's killing. Killing me. We are discussing how to create and mold your character around your story to create a character. Are you okay? I am now. It's just I literally took a toke like 15 or 20 seconds ago. So it's just that initial throat burn, right? But I'm calling the doctor for you. Oh, so true. I smoke too much, guys. Anyways, so we're going over forming your character around the story so your character fits into the story and is, like, well-rounded, but doesn't feel like, you know, they're completely out of place or they were just kind of dropped into the story. It feels like the story was made for them. Like, this is a natural outcome of the life that they've lived, right? And, like, the way that they are and the directions that they've gone in life. And the ultimate goal of this is to flesh out character profiles and build on aligning the character to the plot. Where's the I quit smoking character arc? It's actually I quit smoking tobacco. I didn't ever smoked cigarettes, but I smoked tobacco and weed together. I stopped smoking tobacco. I straight up cold turkey quit both weed and tobacco for a year and a half. Yeah, we call them poppers. Thai hoots. 'Cause that's how the Thai smoke their weed. Then I cold turkey quit for a year and a half. And then I was like, why not just you know, I don't have any hobbies. I don't spend any money. So I was like, I'll start smoking again. And I used to smoke like an ounce every 3 days. I smoke an ounce like maybe an ounce and a half a month now. Like, I don't smoke as much as I did. So we've pretty much actually gone through our quit smoking arc. He smoked a snake once. Minor. True, Smokey. I believe it when I see it, bro. Which is your mom. This is a fantastic pivot for the lockdown scene in Scene 3, shifting to focus the immediate horror to a tense, claustrophobic struggle that deepens Linda's character and the chiral DNA mystery. By switching points of view, presumably to Hector's clone, it's actually going to be to Hector in a... I don't think we need to worry about any of this. We've changed the scene. So what we need to do now is we need to change up to what happens next, and the idea of crafting Hector's character. So we kind of had Linda's character on our own, but then we completely crafted Hector's character out of nowhere. Thanks for the input, I appreciate it. You sparked a few ideas, tweak and refine that I have to do so far. The next step is discuss the next step in the story. Point of view switches the real Hector. He wakes up in a straitjacket in a pitch black padded room. His last memory, waking up, it says the jury room, but it's actually getting coffee with Linda in the break room. And then he wakes up in this place. And he's not already turned into a frog, but he will eventually later. But we kind of give the circumstances for it, and then build on that and say, okay, now you have a general idea of the situation. Say, do you also help out with character backstories and ideas? Asking for a friend, obviously. Yes, I love doing that. I love brainstorming. Brainstorming is like my biggest thing. Like, throw ideas at me if like you're ever stuck at something, if you ever want, you know, feedback, if you need a different perspective, I am all ears, eyes, toes, fingers, everything I need. I'm all in. I love that shit. I love helping people expand their ideas and take them to new directions. Like, me and Book Buyer had a 2-hour discussion. She was stuck on her book. We had a two-hour discussion about her book. She hasn't been back to the stream in a week and a half. I'm hoping she will have written 300,000 words by the time she comes back. I am wishing her the best, and I hope that she is out there getting those words down. At least that's what I hope. But it is what it is, right? That's as far as I know. Because she's like, I'm going to write now. And she's back, like, just a little bit, and then I'm like, alright, perfect. We got to get people, like, you know, the whole point of this is, like, motivating people to write, to create their own stories, their own worlds, to, you know, because, like, the reason I started streaming is to hold myself accountable to writing. So I'm like, I'm actually going to write. I'm going to improve my skills. I'm going to sit down. This is going to be my time to do whatever I need to do to make my book get out there within, like, 20 years. So I feel like I should use that as a principle to hold other people accountable to that, to say, you guys should also get out there, and if you have a work that you want to do, you should shut the fuck up, Smokey bitch. You're not a writer, okay? You're the odd one out, motherfucker. You're just here because you like me to fucking swear at you. I mean, what? I don't know if I asked this, but do you already have a book released? Technically, but no. I have stuff on Kindle. It's definitely something else, and I love that kind of exasperation attitude towards it. Okay, so now we're creating the character profile for Hector. So this is how creating a character profile for Hector, the real Hector, not his clone, that mirrors the format and style of Linda Yu's profile in a great way, is a great way to flesh out his character and contrast him with Linda, enriching their dynamics in your medical mystery psychological horror story. Using elements from this Scene 4 situation, waking up in a straitjacket in a pitch-black padded cell, gaslit by asylum staff, and undergoing transformation into a frog-human hybrid, I'll craft a profile that highlights his plight, ties to the government's chiral DNA, and then we kind of changed it up. So I'll go to the final one. Okay. Good to know. I might hit you up on the secret boss, because I'm a bit stuck on her story. Alright, yeah, feel free, Timmy, anytime. I would love to hear it. I would love to, you know, pump your brain full of air, suck out all the air, and, you know, all that's left is brilliance. Once I take all the woo out of it, all the airhead. And again, it's not necessarily the ideas I come up with, it's the ideas that bounce back and forth, right? You say something, I say something, then you're like, oh, that sparks me for this. That's not necessarily what I want. That's kind of like how I'm showing with this, how it's like, the AI is not giving me what I want, but it is giving a response that gives me something to work with that I can bounce off of it. I'm DMing you right now. Perfect. Oh, here he goes, Smodinity! Don't try to be like your half-sister, bro. You're not her. It's a major secret, so okay, currently signing NDA. I will not talk about it. I will not say anything about it. I am signing an NDA with Timmy on this. Lips are sealed. No one will ever know. I will not talk about it. I will look at it after the stream. And then I can talk to you about it, Timmy. When game? Smokey, if we're not gaming by 4.5 hours into the stream, and I haven't stated it's gonna be like a 10-hour stream, we're probably not gaming, bro. I am sorry to break your heart, bro. But we should have ended the stream an hour ago. I said Muffin was doing a 10-hour stream. Don't twist my words, Smokey. I know what you're playing at. But I just kind of wanted to highlight how we were using the character, the story and the plot, and the character's relevance to the plot with like a base character to round out how that character would have wound up in this place in like real life. Like, how would their life go for them to wind up in this situation? That's kind of the idea. Because normally, like, for a lot of the other stories, they're based on some sort of reality that allows me to draw on a backstory that could be like, this is why they're where they're at. But for this one, I wanted to do it completely from scratch. Same with, like, Hector. And the reason why his is pretty interesting. I like where Hector's went. It's a completely different idea than I would have ever thought, but it kind of matches the same kind of style and complements Linda very, very well. Question. Yes, Smokey. Are you gonna ask the question, Smokey, or are you just gonna... I love when people say, question! It's like, now I'm just anticipating you asking a question instead of you just asking a question. And now I know you're just gonna sit there, Smokey, and you're not gonna ask a question. Because you're just mean to me. You're just so mean. But yeah. That was basically what we wanted to showcase. How you can mold the character around the story and then mold their background into this kind of, you know, believable posturing of this place, even if it's like kind of crazy in this state. And then how we can take a scene like we're gonna do with Hector, where we have no original, because the first one was we have a character profile, and we fleshed out the story that we had with the character profile, right? That was the experiment that we just did. So the next experiment is taking those scenes without any character profile and saying, this is what happens to the character. Now build me a character profile based upon that. Does that make sense? So this is part 1 that we just did, and part 2 we'll pick up with again tomorrow. But unfortunately, we are going to have to... yes, it does. Okay, we're going to have to pick this up again tomorrow. The cows are out in the field. And I can see them, which means I probably need to go to bed. But I still got to do like the pre-streams, or like post-stream shit. Get all the clips together, get all the edits done and everything. Get all the stuff posted.
Don't leave.
I'm sorry, Smokey. I'm so tired. I spent 2.5 hours today pushing carts because we had no store standards. So I actually did like physical work today. I didn't just stand behind a desk, look pretty, and take people's money. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Smokey, but you can't guilt me. You can go onto the YouTube and you can keep watching. Is that okay, Smokey? Pretend that it's like, you know, you're just click on this, click on. Okay, I'll give you one last moment here.
Please fully enjoy this immersive experience. Oh yes, I am almost done anyway.
It's 6 in the morning, guys. I love it. 6 in the morning. That's a good time.
Keep dancing.
That gives me 2 hours to do everything, an hour and a half to fall asleep, 2 hours of sleep, an hour to get up, and then half an hour to get to work. It's perfect. It's 1 p.m. here, motherfucker. True, Smokey. What am I gonna do? I don't know. What? Go watch Asmongold's VOD from today, bro. Have you already watched Asmon's VOD from today, Smokey? Because if you haven't, go watch Asmon's VOD. Yes, you watched it? Okay, well, there you go. Then, Did you see the
good
clip?
rest now,
Okay, I gotta bring this up real quick because this shit is fucking hilarious. The one with Asmongold, right?